Comedian and podcast host Joe Rogan may have an obsession with vegans. Although he claims he is an anti-vegan, Rogan consistently presents a strong stance attacking the diet and lifestyle, while also often reinforcing it. Here are 5 clues that Rogan may be slightly obsessed with vegans. Number 1. He pushes his personal beliefs on others. Rogan criticizes vegans for forcing their beliefs, but has a long history of doing the same to his guests. In April, Rogan hosted fellow comedian Russell Brand on his podcast. When discussing martial arts training, Rogan gives Brand unsolicited advice to ditch his vegan diet.
And I've been vegetarian for years, and I've gone back and forth to veganism because I feel, God, Jesus Christ, man, there's enough things in my life I'm not doing without not being able to have an egg without feeling guilty.
But you could have
for fuck's sake.
pasture-raised eggs if you get them from a good farm. But you'll be better. You know, you're a fit guy. You're a healthy guy. If you just keep going, get off that fucking vegan diet and keep going.
In 2018, he interrogated Kevin Smith for his diet change following his heart attack.
Or you're getting a full blood panel done and all these different things. They're checking all your vitamin levels.
I've also become, I've become the guy that does
with algae. And,
not algae, but there are 2 pills.
Smith's doctor was impressed by the changes to his blood work following his diet shift. The improvement was so significant that he was able to reduce his cholesterol-lowering medication by half. Rogan is never shy to voice his anti-vegan stance, even when he comes at it with inaccurate info.
All these people are going to be vegan? All 2 million in this town and 6 million in the neighborhood town and then 20 million in LA.
It's a lot of agricultural runoff.
Yeah, it's a lot of pollution. You're going to have a lot of shit going to the ground. You're going to have a lot of combines chewing up rabbits. Their answers are they feel better if they think that they're doing no harm. And the way to do no harm is to eat vegan. So this is the ideology behind it. And I understand it. I get it. I appreciate it. But anger at people who don't follow that path is where it gets real squirrely.
Rogan pushes his diet beliefs to his audience by hosting doctors and paleo authors that align with his meat-eating agenda. The only time he hosted a vegan doctor was in a 2018 debate between vegan cardiologist Dr. Joel Kahn and paleo author Chris Kresser. Rogan acted as moderator, but repeatedly sided with the author that aligned with his views.
You eat saturated fat, there's a chain of events that biologists and chemists and scientists know. There's no question. 1985 Nobel Prize in Medicine. Nobody.
Let's not go to the 80s again. When you keep going to these old studies,
yeah.
so I just want you to refute what he's saying about these recent studies.
Okay, 2012, I published a study.
Okay.
Which one of us is a scientist around the table?
Number 2. Rogan is anti-factory farming, but he eats fast food. In a 2018 episode, Rogan explains why factory farming is cruel.
Because the internet came along and I started watching those videos that a lot of them that PETA puts up of factory farming.
Oh,
and
terrible.
It's horrible. It's not just terrible. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like this is like human beings at their very worst. Like that we've treated these things as like the most. I mean, not just as a commodity, but we've ignored their feelings and their thoughts and the fact that they have instincts and needs, and that we've stuffed them into these tiny little cages. It's a sickness.
But Rogan also admits to eating fast food.
If you offer people intellectual junk food, there's a certain group of us, and I lump me in there as well, that will self-sabotage, and they will eat junk food. And they will have a cheeseburger, and then they should really have a salad.
Which he knows comes from factory farms. How does he go from this?
Factory farming is a goddamn crime. It's a horrible crime against life.
To this.
It's just, you don't know what you're getting with that.
No, but you gotta
Tastes
have egg.
good, though.
Egg bacon.
Those sausage patties
So
are
good.
quite
They're
tasty.
so nice.
The McGriddle is
It's brilliant.
basically candy.
It's
Yeah,
brilliant.
God. It's candy with
Candy
meat.
heaven. That and a
Filet-O-Fish. Very good.
It's very good.
I like it. I feel good when I eat it.
Eddie.
Number 3. Rogan believes in freedom of speech, but ridicules people who speak up for animals. In 2017, Rogan hosted Keegan Kuhn and Kip Anderson, the filmmakers behind 2014's Cowspiracy and 2017's What the Health, discussing recent arrests of animal rights protesters. Rogan said he thinks this is a huge problem.
There was a law created called the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act, and it was focused on just animal rights activists and environmental rights activists. And the law says anyone who disrupts the business of an animal enterprise is committing an act of terrorism.
Jesus Christ, that's scary.
Right? I mean, because then it's so far-reaching. That's from someone who saves one chicken from a farm, or someone who does a protest, or, I mean, there's 3 activists up in the Bay who were arrested under the law for passing out leaflets and doing chalk outlines on sidewalks. It's just crazy, total violation of First Amendment.
That's so wrong. It's so wrong and so dangerous when you let an industry just dictate, just by sheer money, what people can and can't protest, things that people find morally reprehensible.
In an April 2018 episode, Rogan hosts Michael Hunter, the chef of controversial wild game restaurant Antler. During the episode, Rogan reacts to a video of an animal rights protester.
There's one crazy video where this lady goes into this restaurant and she starts yelling in front of everybody about her friend and this beautiful creature that just wants to live, and it's a chicken. She's talking about chicken, and they're like, my friend the chicken was killed, and it's like, what?
Whoa.
Someone's gonna murder her.
Smiling, and I can see you laughing, but to her this is not
I can see
funny.
you smiling and laughing.
At least
Why
they're
do you
not,
think?
at least they're not busy.
Yeah, that's true. That's such a restaurant way of thinking.
Number 4. Rogan says the vegan diet doesn't work, but hosts super healthy vegan athletes he admires. In an August 2018 episode, Rogan hosted vegan triathlete John Joseph, discussing the differences between a meat-based diet and the vegan diet. Rogan said he wanted to see the blood work.
Just a few studies from a few people, or a few tests from a few people that have done this carnivore diet. We have some people that have done the vegan diet and have had real hard problems with that diet.
Yeah, but let me just say one thing, because to throw the word vegan on something, that does not make it a healthy diet. But when you say whole food, foods in their original source, organic, no pesticides, whole food, plant-based diet, that's what I roll with.
He also hosted vegan ultra athlete Rich Roll on the podcast in 2015.
You're like if all vegans were like you, there would be no target. It was like people who just eat healthy. That's it. You're just someone who enjoys eating plants instead of animal products, and that's just your diet. It doesn't become a fucking religion with you.
No, I mean, look, first of all, it's not my place to pass judgment on anybody else and their behavior patterns and their habits. And, I'm not trying to, recruit people to my lifestyle. If people want to ask me about it, I'm happy to talk about it.
Number 5. He hunts but feels compassion for animals. In a 2016 episode, Rogan says that he became a hunter because he hates factory farming.
Before I started hunting for the first time, my thought was, I'm either going to go hunting and I'm going to never eat meat again, I'm going to become a vegan, or I'm going to be a hunter. And I decided to be a hunter. And one of the reasons why I decided to be a hunter is I realized I don't like factory farming. I think it's f***ed up.
In the recent episode with Russell Brand, the two discuss how Rogan copes with killing wild elk.
In your head, when you're doing it, when you're pulling the trigger, you're not having what's going on in your mind.
Well, you only are hunting these mature animals that have already passed on their genes. You also are recognizing that if you're not killing these things, it's not like they're going to live forever.
But Rogan also feels compassion for animals, as shown in the 2018 episode with vegan filmmaker Kevin Smith. Rogan recounted a story of his late dog, and things got emotional.
He was having seizures all night. I mean, all night. It was awful. And he was like, he's going to die any hour now. We're going to have to put him down. So he puts him down, and he comes out in the hallway. I mean, I held the dog. I placed him down. I gave him a kiss. I said goodbye. And he put the needle in the dog and put the dog to sleep. Then we both went outside, man. He was just crying, just weeping.
He also questions speciesism in a 2017 episode with author Sam Harris.
One of those trucks that's containing live chickens, and they're just stacked in cages on top of each other, cage on top of cage, and just shit each other. Yeah. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, it's so weird that we're allowed to do that with some animals. Like, if you were doing that with horses, people would lose their minds. If you had dogs in boxes like that, stacked in the open air on the highway, and you're driving down the road with them, people would freak out.
That's it for today. What do you think about Joe Rogan's obsession with veganism? Let us know in the comments. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. New videos every Tuesday and Friday.